מורנו ורבנו.
Hi, Amos, מה שלומך?
כל טוב. מה שלומך?
מצוין, very good. Interesting subject today.
That also meant very good and excellent for those who don't speak Hebrew.
That's
which
right.
we have a bigger audience now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem.
Yeah, we've got 33 subscribers.
Oh, 33?
Yeah.
All right, we cracked the 30.
Yeah.
Hopefully by next week we'll crack 50. So if you're listening to this, and if you have friends, if you have family, or friends and family, then tell them to subscribe. Doesn't cost them money. It's a great show.
And follow and everything.
And follow on everything. Instagram, Spotify. Almost will go through the whole thing at the end.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you guys, this is, without being arrogant, because we did speak about that, but this is actually a very unique podcast. There's many podcasts that are about, Judaism, about Parsha, lots of Jewish podcasts. Not many Jewish podcasts that just pick random topics from a Jewish perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got a friend who listens to this. Listens to 2 a day, she does.
Wow.
And she can't do that anymore because she got through all 8 of them. So it only lasted 4 days. But
it's an intense 4 days.
Yeah. It's intense 4 days. Especially if you're listening to like the 3rd and 4th episode and the 1st and 2nd one together.
Yeah. Yeah, she started with the referendum.
With the real heavy stuff.
Started with the end of life bill. Oh my God. Today we have something a little bit lighter. Very practical though. Very practical. And also, it is a rare opportunity to kind of pull back the curtain.
Yes.
Pull back the veil, so to speak.
Yeah.
The topic is going to be kosher certification.
Yes.
For companies, for manufacturers.
And all the ins and outs of it.
Specifically.
Yeah.
All the ins and outs, meaning I'm not going to address restaurants. I'm not going to address kosher in the home. Because kosher supervision, I'm not going to address kosher in the shul kitchen. Specifically manufacturers, which means plants that produce food, produce chemicals, it can produce things like ascorbic acid, water, different things. It's a very interesting topic. Most kosher organizations will not tell you a lot of what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Some will, some won't. They keep it really close to the vest. I'm still going to keep some things close to the vest, of course, as far as our clients and confidentiality and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But our clients are really proud to be Kosher Kiwi clients. Many of them put Kosher Kiwi on a logo on their product. So I can speak about those companies specifically and others. And what I want to do is just try to give, it was almost an idea actually, to try to give people an understanding of what goes on with kosher supervision, how a plant can get kosher supervision, what are some of the obstacles, what are some of the challenges, and why they do it, and maybe a little bit some of the business side. So I am the rabbi of the Wellington Jewish Community Center. I also, as part of my job, myself and Rabbi Nati Friedler, we are the kosher administrators, really, in the rabbinic supervision for Kosher Kiwi. He has an actual administrator, Ariella, who lives in Dunedin now, who does his administrative work. Dot here at the office does some of my administrative work. Actually do most of it myself, including setting up my own travel schedule, issuing the certificates, and the logistics involved with it. He also has double the clients I do, but I've recruited 5 new clients in the past year, which is a lot for us.
Yeah.
A lot. And each client brings in money that does not go to me. It goes to the center. So it's very, very valuable. One of the reasons, the main reasons that kosher certification exists is for business.
Yeah.
And that's where I'd like to start. So why don't you...
I think a great place to start actually would be talking a bit. So you just came back from a you just came back from a trip. You just came back from a trip from.
Yes, I did.
From.
I went to Auckland, Kerry, Dargaville, and back to Auckland.
So
back.
Upper North Island.
Upper North Island. Meaning, I thought Kerry was really close to Auckland until I actually drove it, and it's 3.5, 4 hours.
It's
with
quite far.
4.5 hours with roadworks.
Yeah, and I think there's roadworks everywhere around the country at the moment.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of construction workers standing around and
Thank God.
not doing too much.
So that's also true.
So, talk to us a bit about that that trip that you had? And
So the trip itself is coordinated with the client, and I went to a place called Olivado, and Olivado does put the kosher kiwi symbol on their products, and Olivado makes different types of oils, macadamia nut oil, mainly avocado oil, olive oil, peanut oil, sesame oil, and others, and they add flavors to it. So Olivado is actually a very good place to start because it has a lot of the dynamics of a kosher certification client. First of all, why would companies want kosher certification? They have a lot of audits.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, an audit is when you have a health inspector, a government inspector. If you're organic, you have to be approved. If you're vegan, you can't just put vegan on your product. There's a lot of restrictions. Some of these auditors stay at the plant for 3 to 5 days.
Yeah.
And audit, meaning the cleanliness, the hygiene, the quality of the product. My audit is by far the easiest audit they have. Right. It usually takes about an hour and a half per visit. And I usually only come once a year. Some places I have to go twice a year. And we'll discuss that.
Yeah.
But usually only once a year. And what I do is I always tell the clients, this is what I tell the clients because I'm trying to be transparent with them. I check for 3 things. 1, the fact that we have trust with each other, which goes both ways. Obviously, I have to trust that what I certify, the process I certify, is going on even when I'm not there. That's why many kosher supervisors and kosher inspectors will do like surprise pop-up visits with clients, unexpected, during business hours, or even not during business hours. They'll check everything. You have to check everything. I'll get into that in a moment. What you check. But you check literally everything from storage to the process, the ingredients, their other certificates. You check literally everything they're doing from a kosher standpoint.
All within an hour and a half.
Yeah, it usually only takes an hour and a half. There's some that are initial site meetings or very extensive ones that take me up to 4 hours.
Does that change whether it's a new client or a existing
absolutely.
one as well?
Absolutely. If they know what they're doing, it's very quick, and some things are done over email, and some things I have to do on the spot, and some processes are really, really straightforward and simple. In the case of Olivado, they have both a process that's simple and not simple, but the not simple one happens off-site, so I'll get into that. You have to certify that, and that became a huge topic of discussion on Monday when I was just there. So that's first. First we look for trust, meaning we can't trust each other. Plus, we send them an invoice, and we have to make sure we get them the certificate on time.
Yeah,
they need the certificate. They can put the logo if they want to. They need the certificate because clients are saying, we want you to become kosher.
Yes.
And that's really the business. Like, it's really simple. The business side is really simple. You have to if you want to recruit more clients, or if somebody approaches you, it's because somebody like Kohl's, which is a big supermarket chain, or one of their suppliers or clients that buys the product from them and supplies it to other food chains, whether usually overseas, outside of New Zealand, will request them to be kosher because they've got a request to be kosher.
Yeah.
Because it goes because either an actual kosher restaurant or establishment asked them to, or Kohl's, which is a supermarket, asked them to be kosher because of their kosher section, or because there's huge demand in places like Toronto, New York, Melbourne, London, etc., for kosher products because there's an opportunity to get into a market that you can't get into without being kosher certified. So
it's the diversification of your market.
It's not a diversification of your market. I wouldn't, meaning it is, but it's an expansion of your market. It's getting to a new target market. It's the same reason companies go halal, because Muslims won't buy it if it's not halal. So really, if you want to get us and all the other kosher organizations more clients, it's a $400 billion business today worldwide. It's a huge business. In order to do that, you have to just buy kosher. The more people who actually buy kosher products and are adamant about buying kosher products helps all the kosher certifications, helps a lot of shuls around the world and communities, and also, for example, even the Orthodox Union, who's mainly funded by kosher certification, plus donations, of course, and other things, they fund an entire youth group with that money. Because they bring in tens, if not hundreds of $millions a year.
Yeah, I think we touched on that on one of our previous episodes.
We did.
As well.
We did.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back very soon.
We will be right back.
And we are back. So we touched on three things, right? There's three things to the process, which are trust.
Wait, for the certification, there are three things.
certification.
One is trust.
Yeah.
We talked about that. The second thing that we check for are the ingredients. And the third thing is the process itself.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on the last two of those things, which is the heart and soul of the certification itself. And so as I explained to the clients, kosher means a lot of things.
Yeah.
It means 1,000,001 different laws. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but there are literally thousands of laws and requirements, and it's hard, you can't really explain to somebody what kosher is. On the flip side, very easy to explain to somebody what halal is. No pig, no alcohol, has to be blessed. You know, they go as far as just tell you the process, which is the third thing. How far do they go? If you use hand sanitizer, it has alcohol on it, you can't touch the product.
Yeah.
Or else it has alcohol on it. That's as far as they go. As far as kosher certification, alcohol is permitted.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why RJ licorice is kosher but not halal, because they literally dip the licorice in when it's hot, over 60 degrees, in alcohol.
I never knew that.
And spirit. That's what makes the coating.
Ah. Good to know.
Good to know. And it's dairy.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the ingredients. So
you have a story about that.
Oh yes, I do. So let's talk about the ingredients. So basically, if the way it works is very simple. If there are raw materials and there's materials that are sourced that go through some kind of process.
Yeah.
And this is where the olivado plant is actually really interesting as far as their supervision. And there's going to be a big change now in their upcoming certificate.
Yeah.
Olivado, so what basically, if you source avocados, which they do, or olives, or fresh almonds, or fresh peanuts, like Pix peanut butter does, cashews, raw material like peas, carrots, salt, sugar, water, etc., etc., etc. All of those are kosher as is.
Yeah.
They don't require a certificate.
By default.
Some things are not kosher, no matter what. Like E120, there's emulsifiers. I won't get into emulsifiers now because it's a whole other topic. But emulsifiers need to be kosher. If the emulsifier is not kosher, nisht. The whole thing's not kosher.
Yeah.
For halachic reasons. But the E120, there's you get to know the numbers. That's made from cochineal or carmine, which is made out of bugs. And bugs are not kosher. Yeah. And therefore, anything with that product is not kosher. If you want that to be kosher, you have to switch from E120 to something else. To another, it's essentially red food coloring or red. That's basically what it is.
The beetles or something.
The beetles, cochineal, For example, gelatin is not kosher. There is kosher gelatin, but it's very, very rare and it's very difficult to get. And but gelatin, as a rule, is not kosher. When without getting into specifics about gelatin, but if you ask any kosher certification that has any self-respect and credibility, you ask them, is gelatin kosher? The answer is no. There is no except. No. Except for there's one except, which is the OU certified kosher gelatin, which is unbelievably expensive and taken from shechted cows and shechted animals. Basically, that's why it's so expensive. Fine. So that means, for example, Anchor yogurt would never be certified because it has gelatin. Yeah. Even if it's halal gelatin,
it's no good for us.
It's no good because you don't know if it's plant-based or not.
Yeah.
If you know it's plant-based, then you can open that up. But if it's from an animal, it's not kosher. Period. Then there's high-level certifications like wine and cheese and shechita, which I won't get into now, which require a Jewish person to be present and to do the actual manufacturing of the product. Yeah. We're talking about manufacturers that they do the work. You don't have to have somebody Jewish do the actual work. You just have to make sure the process is okay.
That reminds me, we should do a shechita episode when we get to shechita.
Oh yeah. Please God, it'll be like 2 episodes.
That'll be fun.
It'll be so much fun.
Yeah.
I can talk about shechita literally for like 2 days straight. So,
with most things you can.
So meaning so far we've mentioned 2 categories in the ingredients. One is kosher as is.
Yeah.
All natural products that are kosher.
Yeah.
Right? Then there's never kosher, like gelatin, cochineal, and others. Pig, lard, things like that. If you source those things, you can't get it. Then there's a lot of the products which we check for, and this is a lot of my supervision, going through everything they source. Everything from citric acid, ascorbic acid, pectin, flavors, colors, those types of things. Even oils that they source, canola oil, different things. If you source it from somewhere else, it must be kosher certified.
Yeah.
How do you know if it's kosher certified? You literally ask the company for their kosher certification. Just like I do kosher certification for Olivado, they source things that require kosher certification from all these kosher agencies around the world.
In order to certify one company, you require certifications from every sourced plant
product. So let's say they bring in macadamia oil, or a good example, coconut oil. Yeah. How do they do their coconut or liquid coconut oil? They literally get the coconut oil to their plant, bottle it, and sell it under Olivado.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And there's companies that do B2B, which means business to business. Yeah. And there's retail companies like Olivado that do B2C, business to consumer.
Yeah.
So in order for the business to consumer to sell their product to the retail market and the stores or clients directly or importers or whatnot, they have to source the actual base product from another manufacturer.
Yeah.
Some things they manufacture on site, like avocado oil, they manufacture on site. But some of the avocado oil they actually get from Kenya, which is their unbelievable story, which I'll share in a moment. But so the coconut oil certified, I believe, by KA Kashrut Authority, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And it's made in Malaysia or Indonesia.
Do you need to check what the certification is?
I need to check that it's a valid kosher certificate. Meaning, there's one time I actually asked your dad. There's one time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right?
Yeah.
Where I went to another company. I won't mention their name because I don't want to slam them because they're a great company. And it's not their fault of their own. They received this company from India that said it's kosher certified. It was a scam.
Yeah.
At best. Or just a ripoff. Or and companies will write kosher suitable. Companies will declare, I'm telling you, this is something I confront. This product is kosher suitable. That means absolutely nothing. I tell companies, that's nice, but I need an actual valid certificate.
Yeah. Do you ever come across,
So I had to make sure, just to finish the point, I had to make sure that the company, either they had to take that product off their list or they switched the suppliers to a supplier with a kosher certificate.
Yeah.
I've done that and I've taken things off the list. I haven't yet ruled a client out for kosher certification, but I do have the power to do that. Meaning it would be less money for the center because the center gets the money, but also you have to keep your credibility as Kosher Kiwi. And other kosher organizations check us all the time.
Yeah.
A recent one checked us, one of our dairies, where do we get the lactose from? Because if they make the lactose, it's not necessarily kosher. I said, don't worry, it's all covered. It's Orthodox Union. I send them the updated certificate. It gives Kosher Kiwi credibility in the kosher world, which is, the reputation is 1,000% of what your Kosher Kiwi or any kosher establishment is, your reputation. So, anything certified by Orthodox Union, that if they're tough on their clients.
Yeah.
And they will never accept something that's not 100% kosher.
Yeah, they have really
they won't
high
play
standards.
Games. They have very high standards. So, that's why they charge, they charge $7,000 a client or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You answered my question briefly, so I can forget about it. My question was, if you see that somewhere is sourcing a material from a place that has a kosher certification, which is a valid kosher certification, but we don't necessarily recognize it as such, what happens in that case?
So then you have to verify that it's an actual kosher establishment. There's all these little places, like one rabbi comes to mind from Strasbourg, there's Hong Kong kosher, there's Thai kosher, there's all these or kosher organizations maybe I'm not aware of.
Yeah.
In Italy. So the coolest one is the story of Olivado, and I'll leave you at this for the ingredients. Is they do an unbelievable business model, which is this is just straight up promotion for Olivado, because I really think their story is amazing. Their avocados are, and their avocado oil, a lot of it is produced in Kenya.
Yeah.
And they literally gave parnasa, like they gave employment to all these Kenyans.
Wow.
And it's unbelievable. It's the highest form of tzedakah.
Yeah,
I told them,
it is.
you
Yeah.
should be proud of your business model. Because that's why the Olivado, the logo is a tree, because that's the tree in Kenya.
Ah.
That's what it is. And their owner, of course, lives where? In Switzerland, because it's a global company. But and their manager is from South Africa. Anyway, so what they do, they have this, they have Olivado EPZ, which basically their extension in Kenya. And now I need to know that everything there is kosher. How do I know everything there is kosher, even though they're the same company? So they have a kosher certificate from the Nairobi Hebrew congregation. And the official rabbi there gives their kosher certification.
Yeah.
And they pay whatever they pay to the Nairobi Hebrew congregation. I'm sure they don't do a lot of kosher certificates. Their certificate is definitely not as doctored up and professional as OU or Kosher Australia or KA, or even ours, which is a very more professional template. But it's still acceptable. I know who it is, and I can ask at any point. I can speak to the rabbi at any point and find out. And it's just a cool story. But so organizations like that, you have to, if I didn't know who they were and I thought they were sketchy, like the Indian one, I'd call them up, or I'd call somebody else. People ask me, have inquired about me. My favorite question was from a kosher organization in New Jersey. Asked me, maybe it was Los Angeles, asked me, is there any grapes in our carrots? Carrot juice. Why? Because the carrots are purple carrots.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to him that biologically, we get a JPN said, right? All the way to Maru. Biologically, the carrots are actually purple. The fact that they're orange is something new.
Yeah.
So I had to teach it, because grape products require a higher level of certification. And if they do grape products, it may not be kosher. And I had to explain to him, no, purple carrots is a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. So that was, and we had a whole conversation about it. But what it did is established credibility for Kosher Kiwi with this other kosher organization.
Yeah. And I think we're going to take another break. So we'll be back soon again. We're back again.
So that's really as far as the ingredients, meaning just to summarize, the ingredients that are kosher as is, ingredients that are just not kosher, and the ones that require certification.
Yeah. So the ones,
and that's what you check. If the certification is not up to date, they need to get one. Sometimes they switch suppliers, and they need to get a certification from there. Some things don't require certification, and then it determines which products stay on the certification or are off the certification, or if the entire plant somehow becomes not kosher, which in the past 2 years has never happened to me with my clients, but it could happen. It
seems with especially the ingredients that are outsourced, seems pretty straightforward in the sense that you just need to sort of follow the chain of where it's made and follow up the
it's really simple side. It's actually, if you have a basic knowledge of kosher understanding, a lot of people can do kosher certification. The actual work of it. But there are halachic questions that come up, and you definitely need a working knowledge of halacha. To do it, you don't have to be the chief rabbi to do kosher certification.
No.
You can be a mashgiach. You have the baseline of halacha, what the issues are, what things are dairy, what things are not. And also, we consult. I always consult with people. The recent one, which I didn't have to consult, but there's all these emulsifiers.
Yeah.
Which are E. Every time you see E, so that you can look up even in the Star K website or OK website, Circle K, right? Which are two big kosher organizations.
Yeah. Massive.
Worldwide, massive. And they literally certify plants around the world.
Yeah.
Almost every single continent.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a list of which emulsifiers are kosher, not kosher, and question mark. One of the ones that comes up quite often is E471.
Yeah.
E471 can be, and what the emulsifier does, it it enables two things that would naturally mix together.
Mm-hmm.
So use it in gelatos, use it in olive oil, use it in, like the classic emulsifiers, part oil, part water, so the oil and water mix because there's water in olive oil.
Yeah.
But if you just mix water and olive oil, the olive oil would be on the top and the water would be on the bottom. It's just biology, right? Chemistry, whatever it is, right? So
substance density, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's a science. That's not my department. My department is kosher certification.
Is halacha a science?
It's halacha a science. You can break it down to a science. Yeah, science of religion. So E471 is sometimes made out of fatty acids, and that would be not kosher.
Yeah.
There's a question mark though, because it's not like cochineal E120, which is always not kosher. Yeah. It is. There could be plant-based, it could be certified, it could be not, but you do require certification. It is called something called the ma'amid, which is there's certain ingredients in different kosher products, which in some cases, if there's a doubt whether they're kosher or not, if there's a very, very minimal amount, it could be called what's called batel, right? It's nullified. Because of the ratio, because a very, very small part of the ratio, and the ratio is so high. So if it goes 1 to 200 or 1 to 6 or 1 to 20, so it's not that significant. When it comes to emulsifiers, they literally make the product the way it is, and therefore, even if it's a high ratio, if it's 1 to 100, let's say, you need it kosher certified, or else the entire product is not kosher. Yeah. So there's recently a company that recently gave me a scare because they used a butter replacer. Yeah. And they source it from Indonesia. I do know that Indonesia and Malaysia, for the most part, use plant-based products and not animal-based products. Yeah. Because of a lot of reasons, also because they're Muslim countries, but for other reasons. So their vegetable oil, I have it under authority from one of the rabbis I consulted with. Even without certification, you can rely on it for home use, but they used E471 in their product, and they use this butter replacer in like all their products. So if that's not kosher, the whole plant needs to be shut down. Yeah, for certification. I mean,
I'm assuming.
And luckily, I found out. I told them that, and I was about to issue a new certificate. I'm like, I have to hold it back. So I held it back a couple days. Said you need to get me the certificate for the E471 at the very least. Or the whole butter replacer is better, but at least the E471, and they did, and they got me a certificate for both, and the butter replacer is okay, and therefore everything else I know is okay because I checked it. Yeah. And most things they make on site, or they use natural products, but that was one of my scary moments because then for us it's losing a client. Yeah. But if you have to, you have to. You don't play around with it.
Yeah. So my question is. With the question mark of emulsifiers, I'm assuming they're all not considered a no unless told otherwise.
Correct. The default is, when it comes to kosher certification, if there's a doubt, the answer is no.
Yeah. It's like cricket.
Yep.
Doubt, not out.
Yeah. So, but in this case, doubt, out.
As out.
Right?
Yeah.
Doubt. If there's a doubt, it's not kosher.
Yeah.
Mainly because of credibility.
Yeah.
So, here's the difference, by the way. It's a huge difference between kosher certification for a product versus somebody's home, right? Like, when you're at home and you make a mistake, and, there may or may not have been blood in the egg, and you don't know, and, there may have been milk that went in there, and is it batel, and, you can be very lenient at home. Yeah. Or when you're eating at somebody's house, if it's kosher house, right? And you don't know, and there's a safek, and, you can give them the benefit of the doubt unless you know it's not kosher. Yeah. When it comes to kosher certification, you never give them the benefit of the doubt because your reputation will be dead if you mess up even with one product. Yeah. Because then they'll say, and there is a person I know in the southern hemisphere who's has a kosher certified organization who's killed his reputation because of questionable halachic practices. Yeah. He certifies a place in Wellington, and kosher kiwi can never certify the place. And can never rely on it. And it's very tricky. Yeah. It's very tricky. Is it not kosher? I tell people it's not kosher. But it's not certified. Yeah. Because of the person's reputation.
Yeah.
Could be that everything there is kosher, and it's a crying shame.
Yeah.
Can't have a kosher eatery place in Wellington. At least you have cafe ice with the ice cream. Even then, by the way, they use the E471, but it's all vegan, all plant-based.
Yeah.
And I verified that. So, because for ice cream, it's a different E471 than others. They won't use fatty acid.
Yeah.
It doesn't help them.
No.
Like from a production perspective.
Probably hurts them more.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah, and he's vegan.
Yeah.
So, but again, you have to check all those things. And some of the flavors, like tiramisu, is not kosher because it's wine, and wine's not kosher. So, like 70% of its flavors are kosher. Not all the flavors are kosher.
I went into Cafe Ice before, and I saw your certificate.
Oh, they put it
I
up?
know that guy, yeah.
Oh, that's good. They finally put it up.
Yeah.
Thank you,
The
Carl.
one down at on the waterfront.
Oh, they put it up on the waterfront?
Yeah.
That's good. They didn't put it on Cuba Street yet.
Haven't checked.
It's okay. Next.
But your certificate is somewhere. So let's go into process now.
Yes, let's go into process. So the process is really where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
And again, the process could be a lot of things. I'll give you an example. A great example is, let's just stick with Olivado. So they get their olive oil and oils and things from Kenya and from Australia, Malaysia, and other places, Indonesia.
Yeah.
It's fine. Part of the process is checking, which is half the ingredient, half the process, is checking their storage, meaning I check their certificates, then I check that they actually have the things that they say on their certificate in their storage.
Yeah.
So I go all around the plant. And if there's something, one time I found at a factory that does frozen vegetables, I found mussels. Not human mussels, but the mussels that you eat
mussels
that are not kosher.
That we can't eat.
That we can't eat, yeah. And I was like, Shuhada mussels. what are these doing here? Anyway, so it's a whole chain. They make it somewhere else. But they had to give me a song and a dance. I had to make sure that they're not processing mussels in their plant. They also had ice cream there. And I realized there's just a storage facility. Yeah. So it was fine. It doesn't go through the actual manufacturing. But it was really highly questionable at the time. And it could have been a make or break for their company.
Yeah. In terms of
thank God it wasn't.
The certification.
Yeah, for their certification, I mean. And they rely on their certification for clients. Like, if they lose certification, it's bad. But, for example, Olivado, some of their process is done off-site, which happens a lot. Companies outsource things.
Yeah.
For business purposes.
Not uncommon at all.
It's very common, and it's actually good business practice.
Yeah.
Because you don't want, as a company, you want to do one thing really, really well, do things really, really well, and therefore you either do everything in-house, like Barker's, for example, does everything in-house, or you, even then they outsource some things, or you just say, you know what, like Bagels or other companies, like refining companies with oils specifically, let's let them do it, because that's what they do. We'll outsource it to them, we pay them, we send our product to them, they bring it back refined, done. Now, the problem was, or is, I should say, that this other company is not certified for their secondary process. Yeah. For the refining. And I don't know what other oil goes through there. And I do know that there are non-kosher products that go through there. In this other company. Yeah. Which is in like the Bay of Plenty. And they're up in Kerry. So it's relatively close. And I told them, for those products, I can't certify them because I don't know what goes on in the plant. Unless that plant has kosher certification. When I did offer, so meaning, the actual ingredients are kosher. Yeah. Right, just to explain to the listeners. The ingredients are 100% kosher. I've certified them. I've certified that the certificates for their lemon zest and all the flavors and all the different things they use are kosher.
Again, so that's the first...
What's the second stage?
The second stage.
We have trust. That's one. Yeah. 2, all the ingredients are checked. Yeah. They don't use any non-kosher ingredients.
As you said, is the easy part.
That's the easy part. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's hard with certain ingredients, but it's pretty straightforward.
It's the easier part.
Yeah, it's either kosher, non-kosher, or you have a certificate or not. Yeah. And you literally just have to check it. Anybody can do it. Anybody knows how to read can do it. Yeah. You just have to be honest and read it. Okay. And check that what it's in the storage matches what's on the certificate. But then it gets to the process. So in this case, they process it somewhere else off-site. Now, if that off-site... So I need a certificate that either I need to certify it, and that's what I tell companies. I'll go there, I'll certify the process, even if it's a one-off. Yeah. And go through an audit once, or as an ongoing thing, or that other company can become a kosher supplier as well. Kosher certified plant.
Yes.
And then I know I certify, and this happens. It's very common. I'll see a product, even with oil. They source things from Midlands, who's one of our clients.
Yeah.
And I'm signed off on it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know that guy. That's a good certificate. So I have clients that support other clients. I also encourage clients to go to other clients of mine to give them the business.
Yeah.
Because I know they're kosher.
And then it's
In New
easier
Zealand.
for your process.
And then it's then I know, okay, you do this, or you source it from there, or you do this off-site, you source it to them. I know they're good because I know the site.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not a conflict of interest because I don't get kickback or money for it. Like there's no conflict of interest, because you could say it's conflict of interest. If I get a percentage, that would be conflict of interest. That's unethical. But I'm not doing anything unethical because I am literally just connecting businesses, and they're certified and they pay the same, and I get no benefit out of it other than knowing that they're going to a kosher plant.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll refer to plants that are not under my certification. It's just a matter of if it's kosher or not. That's really what I care about.
So in this case, the benefit is truly for the community with kosher certification.
Yeah, but I'm saying for the company.
In terms of
like if they want
connection between company and company.
Meaning, if a company says I want canola oil or rapeseed oil.
Yeah.
Right. Then
canola oil.
Horrible.
Canola.
Name. I know.
We've been over this.
We have been over this. Came up with that name. Idiot. So canola oil. So I know one of our clients now, just north of Christ, just south of Christchurch, does kosher canola oil.
Yeah.
So I will refer them to that company simply because there's not a lot of kosher canola oil companies here, but it also helps my client. But also mainly because I know that it's kosher because I certify it.
Yeah.
And other plants that make canola oil, and many times it comes to trading companies like Gilmore's or Davis Trading or Hawkins, Watt, or all these companies that most people don't even know they exist.
Yeah.
They're trading companies. They're middlemen.
Yeah.
So if they can say it's kosher suitable, they know nothing. They source it from somewhere else and they give
buy
it.
And
they buy it and they sell it to locally. Essentially they're an importer. Right?
Yeah.
That's basically what they are. Which is great. It's good business and it's fine. It's easy for companies to go through them. Say, you source me this. I need this quality, this thing, da-da-da-da-da. And I need it to be kosher. So then they'll get it, but they don't always understand what's kosher, what's not. So you have to certify that. In this case, I had to take off about a third of Olivado's products. They wanted to take it off anyways because they do it off-site. It's not kosher certified.
Yeah.
So now, does that affect their entire plant? No, because all the things they do on-site are kosher.
Yeah.
But the things that they do off-site, and I actually caught them. It's not their fault, but I did catch.
Gotcha moment.
I caught a mistake that they had kosher kiwi symbol on a product that went through the secondary process that was uncertified, and I actually made them take it off their labels, which is a big deal for them because labels are expensive.
Yeah.
And I told them you have to take this. You have to either put a sticker on it or take it off your label altogether. So they did, and that's no longer kosher at this point.
That's good.
It's not good because you want it to be more, but it's good. It's good
good that you got it, because otherwise you're having something that's not kosher. And
that's right.
You think it is.
That's right. But what I do with the companies, not every kosher organization does this. Most kosher organizations do like audits, like MPI or others. Like, it's not kosher. It's not kosher. You're not kosher. You're not kosher. Tough. Your luck. Your luck. Your loss. That's it. And they're there to be the bad guy. I try to be the good guy and the bad guy simultaneously, which is very difficult. So this is just the way I run it. So I say, look, it's not kosher. Done. Now let's find a solution how to make it kosher.
Yeah.
Again. Meaning I don't compromise, but I try to come up. I said, you don't pay per product.
Sort of, if you want to get this status again, these are the steps you need to take.
Plus, I can get another kosher client out of it.
Yeah.
Which happens sometimes.
Yeah.
That a client will refer me to another client, to another manufacturing plant that's either certified and I don't know about it, which happens as well, which is fine. Then we never have kosher turf wars. That's bad for business. We don't do that. Because you get into a war, especially with a bigger organization, they'll kill you. You don't want that. And plus, it's not nice, and it's bad business.
Yeah.
Or if they're not certified, then I can certify them. I offer, meaning. And then whether I can or not is a different story. But let's talk about, for example, another place in Payatua that does candies. It recently became a kosher client just about a year ago. And they have things with gelatin. As I said, it's not kosher.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of candy places tend to use gelatin.
right, but not for all their products.
No, not for everything.
They do inclusions, which means they do things that you put in ice cream or in Tip Top ice cream or others, right? And for some of their inclusions, they got a request from the client to be kosher certified. So they called me up. It was really last minute, like we need it like next week. So when Brian Aarons drove me, and you can ask him about it. It was a nice trip. It's just in Payatua, just north of Masterton, like 2.5 hours from here. So I went, and so there's non-kosher products on site. So then you can ask, well, how can you certify such a thing? So first of all, you go through a process. For example, if everything is made cold, then this is just basic kosher laws like you would have in your kitchen, except this is on a commercial level. Yeah. So if everything is made cold, you need to have a proper cleaning between the non-kosher product and the kosher product. Yeah. You don't need a time stand down, and you're good. Right. Or if it's made hot is over 42 or 45 degrees, depending on your halachic opinion. Yeah. And in this case, some things are 130 degrees, some things are 60 degrees. So it's hot. It's all made hot. These candies. Eventually they're cooled, but the process is hot. That's why you have to see the actual process.
Have you ever seen them make the hand pulled like hard lollies? The boiled lollies? So it's like the sugar and they put some water in it and stuff, and they'll like take it all out and put it on the table, and it's like one thing. Yeah. But it's like melts and like takes together and melts.
So I've seen
like
similar things. Yeah.
It's videos online that I've seen.
It's really cool.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
So here they heat things up to like 120 degrees and pour it out in this big thing, and eventually it's cut up, and then it comes to the small little chocolate balls at the end of it. Like it's big strip, and like wow, things go through pipes. Things like you get to learn a lot about the process and about their cleaning and water here, water there, and there's. Every time you go into a plant, you have to put on hair net, beard net, gloves, sometimes a whole overalls, boots. You have to wash your hands and again, and like and you have to scrub your boots. It really depends. Yeah. You have to walk through solution. It really depends on the level of hygiene that they're required. But I spent a lot of hair nets, beard nets, I shaved my beard. Is the only time I didn't need a beard net. I reached for a beard net, and I was like, he says, you don't need a beard net.
Force of habit.
Wow. That was cool. That was like one visit. Oh. Yeah. I grew my beard back, thank God. So how do you deal with hot products? So the way you deal with hot products is really one of 2 or 3 ways. One, you either say, look, nish kosher, not. Sorry, can't help you. Or, now in this case, the products they wanted are kosher. Yeah. Ingredient-wise. But the process makes it not kosher.
The hot process.
Oh. Yeah. Because if you cook something with gelatin at 60 degrees, 100 degrees, over 45 degrees essentially, and then you put in something else afterwards, all the equipment is in touch with hot. It's heat and hot contact with something that's not kosher. So it therefore, it deems every single product is not kosher. Yeah. That's just the laws of kosher, right? So the plant doesn't understand this. So that's why they need me to certify it. So then they can either do a clean down. They have a full chemical clean down. They clean down between products anyways for hygienic reasons, allergens, things like that. Taste, right? Quality of the product. And then they have to clean everything with boiling water, meaning over 100 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Now, this plant can't do that. They can only do that for some of their stainless steel things. But their conveyor belts and others, they just can't do that or they're going to destroy their equipment. Yeah. So that's fine. So I said, you don't have to do that. So then what's the solution? So the solution is to have a 24-hour stand-down period. and a full kosher clean. And for the things you can do 100 degrees, do 100 degrees. And that's the arrangement I have with them. So in the licensing, I made them, I required them, I should say, to completely change their kosher, their production, scheduling.
Yeah.
So their natural stand-down period are Sundays, so they don't work on Sundays. So they do on Fridays, or let's say they work on Saturdays even.
Yeah.
They work Monday to Friday in general. Some plants work on Saturdays. So let's say Monday to Saturday, they do a full clean down, which they do anyways at the end of every day, especially before the weekend. And then the big cauldron they use to boil their products, they clean anyways at the beginning of each day over 100 degrees. That's part of their process anyways. I was lucky. Or else I'd have to enforce that. But they do that anyways. And they spill that onto their tables. I made them spill it onto their tables, which at boiling point. And then they start their kosher production, because there's a 24 stand-down period, which essentially takes the taste out of the other equipment, because it's been a full clean down and 24 hours. So the beginning of the week, from Monday till, let's say, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is, they do their kosher products. And then from that point on, they do their non-kosher products. Do a full clean down at the end of the week. And then chozer chalila every single week. But they have to schedule it that way. So when I do my audit next, I have to make sure that's how they're doing it. And they schedule, meaning they have to schedule it that way.
And if they were to change that in the middle of the
they have to either call me, and if I catch them doing that, I take away their certification.
Yeah, so they have to inform you, isn't?
Yeah,
they're obligated to inform.
That's right, and everything and that's an assigned contract.
Yeah,
there's not trust. I mean, there's trust, but there's a signed contract.
It's a twofold, because it's.
But even if you sign a contract, like unless you have a camera and you're watching there all the time. Yeah, so that's a plan. I really should go there about like twice a year just to check in on them, because the process is very difficult. And I've checked in on them every so often throughout the year. So that's really the three stages to it, when it comes to the trust, the ingredients, the process, and then every plant is different. Yeah. One plant, and I'll leave you with this, one plant makes I forget exactly the name of the product, but essentially it's it's a chemical essentially that thickeners, right, that takes away the thickening from different products. 85% of their product is made for paint, which you don't need. Paint, because it takes away the thickness from the paint. Yeah, right. It's essentially thinners, it's right? So to make sure that it'll paint, the paint will go on the wall properly, right? Yeah. So it's a chemical. Or it's a solution really that you put into. It's liquid form that you put into the paints, right? 15% of their product is food grade, and that's what they need the kosher certificate for. So they had an issue with the previous rabbi that certified them, which is that they used oil that wasn't certified. And they had to use proper oil for the kosher certified product. They used the first oil because it was cheaper, but it wasn't certified. So that means they had to do the whole clean down and 24-hour shutdown and everything I told you, right? Yeah. It's pain in the neck. So it took them 18 months, because these companies, to change things takes them a long time. Yeah. And they completely changed over their oil to certified kosher oil to make sure the whole plant was kosher. Oh. Even for their paints. I spoke to the owner. Why did he do that? He said, it's because it made my life easier. So even though 85% of his products aren't even food grade, let alone kosher, I told him, nobody requires kosher paint. And if they do, they need to go to like a psychiatric ward or something. It's like they're mentally ill, right? It's not good. But when it comes to... But then he doesn't have to switch oil. It was incredibly stressful. Or else he'd have to shut down and not be kosher. But he needs to be kosher because one of his clients is asking him to be kosher. It's all economics. Yeah. So to make his life easier, he just made the whole plant kosher. And that way, once the plant is kosher, all we have to do Let's check the ingredients. Done. There's nothing on the site that's made not kosher. Versus plant and Payatu, I always have to check their process.
Yeah.
Very diligently. And Olivado, I have to make sure what's done on site, what's done off site, which is fine, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make my job harder necessarily. I don't mind it, but it's more of a pain for the company.
But it also makes, it means every single process is different.
Yes, and that's why that's why. By the way, if you go and say, "Oh, I'll look at the ingredients on a product, see if it's kosher," you have no idea. You meaning anybody,
yeah,
including myself, unless you know what goes on in the plant.
Yeah,
unless you know it's kosher certified. And then some things are certified, but they don't have a kosher logo on it. That's fine. As long as you know by a credible app or organization or website that it's kosher.
Yeah, or the kosher list.
That's fine. The kosher.
Yeah,
that's why you have the kosher list and websites, and that's a conversation for a different time. But it doesn't have to have a kosher logo. But you should know that there is a kosher certificate that it does have out there.
Yes.
And is provided for and has been checked. Or it's under a ruling, like London Baking has rulings, things that are kosher as is. Rice is kosher as is unless it's cooked. Pasta is kosher as is. Beer, things like that, right? So, unless there's any grape product in the beer. Or look out for E120, or look out for fructose, just some grape. And all these things you learn as you go on.
Yeah. Okay. I think that was a good lesson for everyone, including myself, because I don't really know too much about your certification process.
But now you do.
The door's opening. That's weird.
It's Elijah the prophet.
Yeah. Or Casper the friendly ghost.
Next week we're going to talk about
something to do with Hanukkah, because it will come out in the middle of Hanukkah, and that will be exciting. I don't know what
we can do what I would like to, there's one of two choices. I'll let you choose, or maybe we can talk about both. What was the actual miracle?
Question with 100 answers.
Question with 100 answers.
Yeah.
And which ties into the second question, which is, the first question was the actual miracle as it pertains to the oil.
Yeah.
And the second question is, what was the actual miracle? Why is it such a big deal? Why are we making a big deal about oil? And why did Hashem create a miracle about oil? Why did they have to look at it for the first place, which has to do with Jewish sovereignty in Israel?
I think we'll definitely decide.
No, but they're connected.
Yeah, but they're connected, but we'll decide the topic for sure.
We will.
And you'll find out next week.
Next week. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Or Shavuot Tov.
Or Shavuot Tov.
Whenever you might be listening.
Whenever you listen to this podcast.
There's not much you can argue with us about this, I don't think.
No.
Because it's all about
Well, if you do, then
if you do, you're welcome to.
Would be under question. You could ask questions, though. Ask questions.
Yeah, ask questions.
About different things, different products, if they're kosher or not, or if you have any kosher questions.
Yeah.
Or if we wanted to get answers about different factories I have. I'm not going to liberty to give you the names of all of them, but I can tell you anonymously about different experiences I've had with them if you want to learn more about kosher certification. It's a really fascinating thing.
It's really interesting. So subscribe, and follow on all platforms. There's a link tree below in the description of all of our podcasts on descriptions in all the podcast platforms, as well as YouTube. And follow us on Instagram, EUTS_podcast. I think that's it. Have a very good week.
Thank you, Amos.
Bye. This has been Everything Under the Sun.